The Las Vegas Raiders had better hire Klint Kubiak or they are going to suffer for years to come. It is not even close, guys. I just finished an in-depth review of Klint Kubiak's offense against a very good 49ers defense, and it is not even close for any of these other offensive-minded coaches that are candidates for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I know the Raiders have like 20 freaking coaches right now that they are looking at and interviewing. But when I break it down, the reason why the Raiders need to hire Klint Kubiak is because we are essentially the Seattle Seahawks. I know the record doesn't say that, but when you look at the makeup of this team, it is exactly what the Seattle Seahawks are right now. And in my opinion, I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl. And here's why. The Seattle Seahawks, they don't do anything super innovative or super fancy. What they do is excellence at doing their job. Every single one of those offensive linemen, every snap that I looked at, did not miss their assignment one time. Now remember, back in 2024, the Seattle offense, their offensive line was ranked near dead last, right along with ours. And this year, he has been able to completely flip that around to where they are one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. And they didn't make a whole bunch of personnel changes either. It was just better coaching under Klint Kubiak. And I think that at this point right now, if you look at the makeup of the Seattle Seahawks, they rely heavily on Kenneth Walker III, their running back. They are a run-heavy team. In fact, they're one of the best run teams in the league, averaging over 123 yards per game. And what this does is it allows them to set up the play action pass superbly. And they utilize their tight ends. They are central to their entire process of being successful on the offense because their tight ends are required to be good blockers, but they also go out there and they just eat up the middle of the field, and they are able to catch pass after pass after pass and make something out of it. Well, the Raiders have two excellent tight ends. We have the best tight end in the NFL in Brock Bowers, and we have a top 10 tight end in Michael Mayer. Whenever he gets his opportunities, he absolutely shines. Both of these guys need to pick up their game a little bit better in regards to picking up defensive ends and chip blocks and stuff like that. And I think under Klint Kubiak, he's really going to harp on that, and I think that they'll continue to get better. But at this moment right now, when you look at the makeup of the Raiders, we have everything that Seattle has. We have a decent defense that in my opinion, I think if we get a better defensive coordinator, because I'm still not sold on Patrick Graham. He's done a good job. It's definitely not bottom of the barrel, but I think with the talent that we have, we could definitely do better. So I think Patrick Graham, this is going to be his last year with the Raiders, and I think the Raiders, when you bring in Klint Kubiak, he's going to be looking for a defensive coordinator of his own staff, maybe to resemble what they did in Seattle because their defense is really good there. So I think at this moment right now, you can win with what the Raiders have currently. Aidan O'Connell, in my opinion, would thrive in a Klint Kubiak style offense. Number one is because he's going to get that offensive line whipped into shape. And we have some promising pieces with Charles Grant, with JPJ, Colton Miller getting back to being healthy. DJ Glaze, I think he could probably maybe move back to the inside and maybe we work on that right tackle situation. I think you bring back Jordan Meredith. He is a solid football player. The rest of the offensive line still up in the air, but I think Clint will have a really good plan for that. And if they hire him early enough, I think the Raiders are going to be able to solidify that offensive line, which is then going to allow Ashton Jeanty to play that Kenneth Walker role, because every play that I looked at, Kenneth Walker, not one time did I see him I don't think, not even one time. I don't think at one time I seen him get hit behind the line. Ashton Jeanty got hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any other running back in the NFL this year, and he still put up over 1,300 all-purpose yards. Imagine if this guy has running room to get past the line before he gets that first contact. This dude might put up 3,000 yards on the ground. Who knows? right? I mean, if you're able to get nearly 1,000 yards on the ground and you're hit behind the line almost every single time you touch the ball, there's something really special about you. I think that Klint Kubiak can solve that problem. I think when Klint Kubiak's looking at his head coaching jobs that are available out there to him, it's got to be really intriguing that the Raiders have $96 million in cap space. The Raiders have the number 1 overall draft pick. They have 10 draft picks total, 6 of which are in the top 4 rounds. And you have an Ashton Jeanty, you have a Brock Bowers, you have a Michael Mayer, you have a Max Crosby. You have all the pieces there to build a playoff-ready team. Now, the only question would be, what would Clint want to do with that number 1 overall pick? Is he sold on a Fernando Mendoza? Or is he looking at a longer-term build where we're going to have a stacked quarterback draft next year? And since Mendoza is the only first-round draft pick quarterback this year, do you trade away that number 1 overall draft pick and go with what you got with Aidan O'Connell? Because I honestly don't think Smith's going to be back. I think the Raiders cut him. Cut their losses. He's not the guy. And I don't think Klint Kubiak would want him anyway. I mean, look, he was with Seattle a year ago and they cut him and moved on to Sam Darnold. I think that Aidan O'Connell would thrive in Klint Kubiak's system because it's a bunch of short, timed passes. He's not having to think about a lot of stuff. He's handing the ball off 50% of the time, and he's doing a lot of play action. So I think that you could absolutely... Sam Darnold's not a runner. He is not an athletic quarterback, and these dudes are about to go to the Super Bowl. I'm almost guaranteeing that they win the Super Bowl. At least they're going to... I think that they go to the... I think they win the NFC Championship, and they go to the Super Bowl. So Sam Darnold and Aidan O'Connell, to me, are the same quarterback. There's not that big of a difference between these two guys. Their build, their athleticism or lack thereof, their throwing style. You put them in a Klint Kubiak system and they thrive. I think Aidan O'Connell would be good enough for us to maybe make a playoff run with him in year 1, which gives you the leverage of saying, listen, we're going to pass on Mendoza, who's going to be a really good quarterback in the NFL, but we're looking at some legit superstar quarterbacks coming out of next year's draft rather than this year's draft. And we could get a haul from maybe the New York Giants for giving up on Mendoza, and we can address some of the other holes that we have. And especially if you have a guy like Klint Kubiak and you tell him, listen, we're giving you a 5-year deal, we're giving you $200 million, guaranteed money, we're not going to fire you, we know we're going to trade away this first overall draft pick, so you've got a year to make do with Aidan O'Connell, and then next year we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick up a superstar, legit superstar quarterback like an Arch Manning, depending on how he does in college next year. But then you're going to have some other young studs in there as well. So it's going to be a loaded draft. Let's trade to the Jets. They're probably still going to suck even with Mendoza. So who knows? We might even get a number 1 overall draft pick again next year. But the good thing is they got multiple draft picks this year and next year. So we could maybe get 3, maybe 4 first-round draft picks this year out of the Jets, and we're able to really start to load up this team with a ton of talent. And that's, to me, I think would be the smartest thing to do. I know the sexy answer is Fernando Mendoza, but for me, I'm going to say if you got Klint Kubiak, everything that we have right now, I think he can make work. I think he can make us maybe even get to a playoff run with Aidan O'Connell. How crazy would that be? But I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Should the Raiders go after Klint Kubiak? Should the Raiders trade away that number 1 overall draft pick? Drop your comments down below. Follow for more, and let's go Raiders.